everybody, back again. Vertebros, best buds, Dr. Zach, Dr. Matt. We're here to just share great information, right?
Exactly. Yeah. No pun intended, of course.
No,
right?
of course. So today we just decided that we wanted to go over a super sensitive topic just because we wanted to have people on the edge of their seat and say, what the heck are these guys going to say about this, right? It's like, what was the government's plan with COVID, right? Now, there's all kinds of stuff people could say. We're going to try to tell you what they told you to do, but some of the things that they did not tell you to do. And some of the risks and some of the things about COVID that we should be aware of or should have been aware of at that time. One of the most important things that wasn't really relayed effectively, I would say, is the absolute risk of COVID to the entire population, right? We know now, and we even knew then, that the most risky patients were going to be those elderly and the people who had comorbidities, multiple different things that were going on, whether it be diabetic or overweight. All that stuff's pretty common knowledge now. So knowing that the mass population wasn't the most risky population, but actually the smallest cohort was, is something that we're now aware of. And it's probably something the government should have made that more clear on the front end, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think some of it does come back to that we really just didn't know a ton about it, right? It was very new. People were just scared of the unknown, right? And it sounded like a pretty serious thing. And of course, if you have some of those pre-existing conditions or older, even, young, some very young too, sometimes obviously there can be, chances of you getting sick or having severe symptoms from that as well. But what we found, like in the beginning with that fear and panic, is that they just told you to just stay home and wear a mask even if you're going somewhere. Don't go out in big groups or anything like that. Yeah. And they've done some studies more retrospectively now looking at it. And there's a big Cochrane study that was actually done last summer in 2023, which said basically masks didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like we were all told to wear them. And it's like if you don't see anybody, you're not going to spread the virus and it's just going to stop and go away. And here we are in 2024 and it's still here, right? And there's just a lot of isolation that occurred, which is just not good for just humans in general. So
yeah, that's actually a side effect that really isn't talked about, is the effects of people just staying in one spot, and how that the goal was try to slow the spread of it, right? But man, did we have some drastic decreases in education, right? Kids weren't able to go to school. They had to do a lot of online stuff. We had a lost generation of kids that didn't get that in-school specifics. And heck, there's even a lot of not just kids. We got healthcare professionals that literally couldn't go into their clinics and learn when they're in dentistry school, chiropractic school, or even medical school. So there's a lot that's been lost there too. And I think it's important for us to all recognize because of what happened with COVID.
Sure. And then, as we were getting further in COVID, then there was the vaccine that came out, which is supposed to be, again, that solution that's going to stop COVID and stop the spread of that as well. And, what we found with, vaccines is that that's a type of acquired immunity, as we touched on in a previous one. So your body will make basically the antibodies to that to help fight off the disease if you ever do come in contact to it. And then but that's more of a form of acquired immunity that comes from the T2 cells. So T cells are your helper cells, which help to fight infections. Your body naturally makes T1 cells, and they call that natural immunity as well. And kind of the key difference between those is that if you come in contact with basically a disease, but you have immunity for the rest of your life, right? Your body has seen that, knows exactly what to do with it. A vaccine only lasts about 10 years. That's why they require boosters. And we find that most of the time adults aren't very good at getting the boosters or keeping up with it. So you actually lose a lot of that immunity over a period of time too. So it's not quite as an effective measure to help deal with that as well.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest faults that the government had when it came to COVID was that they weren't telling you all the other stuff that you should be doing, right? Like, how about increasing your vitamins that you're taking, right? Like our natural fighters, like vitamin D. Heck, we live in Wisconsin. Vitamin D doesn't even exist here. I'm just joking. But seriously, right? We know that you should have been pumping a lot of vitamin D. You should have been putting in those nutrients that really help your body and your immune system fight effectively. You should have been really jumping into that. And you never heard any of that, right? You never talked about the importance of actually getting outside and exercising. We're told to stay inside, but exercise has been huge for your body's immune system. Heck, how about chiropractic care? We know that when the nerve system is communicating effectively, your immune system is going to function better too. So there's a lot of things that you could have been doing that were actually going to be more focused on health rather than fear. And hopefully we've learned a lot because of that. And here we are today, making sure that we don't repeat those mistakes in the future.
Absolutely, because we know, over basically the last 100 years, there have been different viruses that have come through, and it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
every year, but about every 10 years or so, there's been some type of
Sure.
significant. 2009, I think, was the most recent one with H1N1 swine flu.
Yep.
Essentially, there will be another one in the future, but we just have to be well equipped to handle it, essentially, too, and know the things to do and not to do, and to avoid just if you do have those risk factors. But just knowledge is power for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. So keep tuning in. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.